Pleasant good morning to everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Carlos Brown Show. Watched exclusively right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Carlos Brown, joined by Charles Edmond of the Alcorn State Radio Network. Charles is live at the home school, Alcorn State University. Here's the guest menu. Of course, Charles Edmond joins us. Also, Kelvin Rosier of the OG Strike Zone. He'll join us and give us a preview of FAMU. Then our regularly scheduled characters, Coach Vann Pettaway and A.D. Willow Brown. Here's simply what's trending, and then we'll get into the show. Of course, Southern University hosting FAMU. Defend the turf. Defend your turf. Some could say maybe, just maybe, not getting ahead of ourselves, could be a preview of the SWAC football championship, according to the prognosticators. But I'll simply, for this game, Southern defend your home turf. Also, the SWAC basketball preseason predictions and polls are out, both women and the men's basketball team. We'll get into that, of course, with Coach Vann Pettaway. And then last but not least, big news coming out from the NCAA. The council permanently drops new player limit for football. That's what's trending on the Carlos Brown Show here on the Black College Sports Network. Charles Edmond, good morning.
Hey, Carlos, good morning. We're on the beautiful campus of Alcorn State University. It's homecoming 2023, a packed house expected, and it's a great atmosphere, and it's a beautiful day for football.
Well, let me just get this right out. I'm pulling for selfish reasons. I'm pulling for Alcorn State because your alma mater, a very confident bunch of players, student athletes right now, and that's Grambling State University. So, for selfish reasons, I'm pulling for Alcorn State today. Here in Baton Rouge, a game 6 p.m., ESPNU live. Jay Walker, I like to call him Jay Miak Walker, and he lets you know that he does. He does. And Tiffany Green in town to call all the action. Big matchup, huge. We'll look at some of the important numbers, give our opinions. And Charles, I was kidding you for the show. And you don't have to give your prediction now, but everyone knows who you're going to predict. We'll just get that out of the way. And by the way, you predicted Alabama A&M, and you didn't predict UAPB. But we'll take a look of last week's ball game because some interesting things came out that pleased many in the Jaguar Nation, but Jaguar Nation is not satisfied. So, Southern and Pine Bluff, Jaguars last week, get it done on the road, and they seem to have a lot of success in Pine Bluff. Beautiful weather. The Jaguars get it done 27-0. A sighting was seen, Charles. It was the running game. In one game, they beat the total of the previous games, 230 yards rushing. So the running game appears. Now you got to work on consistency. That opened up the passing game, 258 yards for Harold Blood. First pass, INT. After that, 18 of 20 for 258 yards, 488 total yards. But a pleasing thing to have the running game make an appearance. Now, it's going to be an upgrade from UAPB with FAMU from a defensive standpoint. So offensively, we're going to see what Southern can put together. I've already got text messages saying Coach Dooley has to call, because he's offensive coordinator, he will have to call the best game of his tenure at Southern University. That's just kind of what I've been getting all week. But the defense Coming into last week, only had what, forced one turnover. They got four against UAPB. Outstanding defensive effort. Only gave up like 200 plus yards total. So Gary Qualls, first 100-yard rusher, 15 carries, 102 yards. Harold Blood, 18 of 20, 225 yards, one TD, one interception. That was, in essence, though, the running game, and the defense has continuously played well. They're playing at an elite level. Are they perfect? No, but they have been playing outstanding. They're going to need an effort, another consistent effort against MU tonight.
News flash. Breaking news. When you can run the football, everything else becomes a lot easier. I think that's the news flash. We can put that on CNN. We can put it on ESPN. News flash. We can run the football. Good things happen.
News flash.
It's
Yeah,
morning.
and being balanced.
Alabama State ran for over 200 yards against Alcorn last week. In the previous game against FAMU, they ran for 14. Now, Alabama State fumbled the game away, but they were able to run the football. Their quarterback wasn't all that great, but they ran the football, and that kept the Braves off balance. When you can run the football, good things happen.
Mhm.
And so that you talked about it at the start of the season, Carlos. If Southern can get that balance, I think they'll have a puncher's chance in any game. Don't turn the football over. Your defense has been good. Our defense has been good, but you got to be able to run the football. And Southern was able to do that, and they were able to take care of business. Now they're going to have to play the best game that they played in a long time. And of course, we'll have our predictions, but I'm going to issue a challenge as well as give a prediction to the Jaguars coming up whenever it's time to make those predictions. I'm going to issue a prediction and a challenge because I have something to say about Southern and playing at home in big games in Mumford. Maybe it's a sellout, maybe it's a packed house. I don't know. It should be best team in the league coming in. I don't know. But I'm going to issue a challenge to the Jaguars when it's time.
Well, breaking news for us, the prediction, we'll say this, it's trending toward FAMU for Charles Edmond. He didn't say that, I said it. Oh, we know what's going to happen. So that's breaking news. It's not going to be unexpected, but Southern University gets it done. Kind of gauging the Jaguar Nation. They're happy for the victory, but guess what? There's still more work to be done. And that's kind of the graphs I'm getting um, from the Jaguar Nation. What will this victory do? If they can get it tonight, it will really, one, breed more confidence. You're already trending in the right way, and you just don't know. Sometimes it could be a Natalie Hicks. Good morning, and good morning to everyone that is watching in the HBCU Nation. But it can do a lot of good because you're trending up. They started the season 0-2, high expectations, and when you get off to a 0-2 start and you predicted to win the West and you have high expectations, it can really just knock the enthusiasm. But the true supporters and fans and alumni, yeah, they can voice their opinion and they're going to do that, but they're going to stick with you as well. This game tonight can go a long way in maybe smoothing over some of those rough spots, anger in some parts, disappointment. That's where I fall at of those first two games. But they're trending upward, and now they've got to work on consistency. And they're going to need it tonight, Charles. You know, we talk about the running game, but I just believe you got to be balanced. And I'm going to say this now. First big hint. If Southern University has to sit back and throw the ball over 40 plus times, it doesn't end well. You got to have balance. We'll chart first downs. You got to be unpredictable on first down. You've already talked about it in previous previous shows, utilize every weapon in your arsenal. Tight ends, backs out in the passing schemes, slant patterns, curl ins, the intermediate routes. I just don't believe you're going to be successful if you're going to try to throw deep all the time. I don't think you'll have that much time to do that. But in other words, a simple thing: take what the defense gives you, and especially top two defensive teams in the conference, separated by 9 yards. 9 yards. We'll get a little more of scoring defense, scoring offensively, but both strengths of this football teams are their defense. FAMU statistics show they're better offensively than the Jaguars. So, folks, that's where it's at. As for Southern and FAMU, also, of course, Grambling State and Alcorn. I think that's the second big game of the week. But make no mistake about it, the game of the week is in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, A.W. Mumford Stadium. Charles?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I agree. The two top games in the league, obviously down there and here. I've said this the last few weeks. All corn fans and Southern fans are kind of feeling the same way. We won last week. We took a victory from the jaws of defeat in overtime. Southern University got the win, did what they were supposed to do. They were the better team than Pine Bluff, first year head coach and all that. But I'm sure, just like you mentioned, some Jaguar fans still not totally over it. And even though we
Mm-hmm.
won last week, a lot of Braves fans still not over it. We're on the same path. And so this is a big game as far as just getting back on track. We have a loss already in the division. That was against Prairie View here a couple of weeks ago. Can't afford another. And who would have thought, Carlos, as far as Alcorn's running game, and you have been high on the Braves running game, and so is everybody. The last 2 weeks, we don't have 200 yards rushing total. And Grambling, the last 2 weeks, has had over 400 yards rushing. Who would have thought that 30 days ago when we were looking at all these games?
Mm-hmm.
Grambling found their stride. They have found a quarterback right now that can get it done. Alabama State transfer who's slinging it all over the yard. Who would have thought that 30 days ago? They found their offensive stride in the Braves. Aaron Allen will get to start again, but the running game has kind of hit a rut. And so who would have thought that? It just shows you that every week you got to come out ready to go. And I think, for the Braves, it's a huge game, a huge statement with a bye week coming up. Then we go to Pine Bluff on their homecoming, and then Southern University rolls in here. So I think the next couple of weeks are going to be big for a bunch of teams, for Southern, for Grambling, for Alcorn, for FAMU. I think for the top tier teams, these next couple of weeks are going to be really, really big.
Well, I have a theory because, I always talk about being balanced, and specifically for Alcorn State. If I'm going to defend them defensive game plan like I would defend Southern until proven otherwise. You stop the running game, then you force them to beat you to throw the football, and then I'll live with that. And I'm sure FAMU is going to come in with the same game plan to try to stop the run, negate it, and force them to beat him, passing the football. And I think with Alcorn, the same thing. You try to make a team one dimensional, and I think that's what FAMU will try to do. And boy, Charles, I got a chance to listen to the last part of that game. Shame on Alabama State. Look, Alcorn happy with the victory, but shame you're going in to go up by at least 10 points, and you fumble inside. You gave the gift of a lifetime. They did it twice. And so if I'm Alcorn State fans, yeah, I'm probably feeling even a little bit more disappointed
Yeah.
because you literally, what are the chances of, and it's happened, we've seen Southern and Alabama and them fumble going into at the goal line. But to do that and do that at home, yeah, I'm not feeling too good right now if I'm Alcorn State. fans and alum. But hey, you get the victory,
Yeah.
albeit via a gift.
Well, the phrase that is going around right now, and I think in sports is, "I'll take an ugly win over a pretty loss any day." I've heard that at
Hmm.
once over the last month. I'll take an ugly win over a pretty loss any day of the week. And I think that what you're seeing in college football, you're seeing a lot of ugly wins. LSU Ole Miss last week, that was an ugly win. 700 yards of offense, that was great, but still, it wasn't a thing of beauty. And I think in the SWAC, you're seeing a bunch of games that aren't a work of art. But coaches will take it as long as you have one more point than opposition on the scoreboard. We know what fans are going to say. It wasn't pretty, but hey, a win is a win. Southern look good. But now we'll see when the best team rolls into Mumford at 6 o'clock. We'll see what happens there. And probably the second best team, Grambling, or maybe the third best team, Grambling, rolls in here at 2:30 on homecoming. So we'll see big tests coming up for both of these teams.
Yeah, it will be. And boy, when we're talking about how people are feeling, Alabama State fans ought to just be literally sick. Literally sick. You had the game. You played pretty much well enough to win it and didn't get it done. I guess that's the way football goes sometimes. It's a thin line between a win and a loss.
Well, seven fumbles. They had seven fumbles at home and lost three or four of them. So that was the game. I mean, you fumble seven times at home, you probably don't deserve to win the game. I mean,
And they didn't.
they wanted, they had a punt, they had a field goal block for a touchdown. They pick up a first down with, we burn our timeout with 4 minutes left. They fumble at the 5. But you got to give Aaron Allen a lot of credit though for pushing the ball down the field. Totally different to Tyler Macon. He's the big arm. And man, our wide receivers late in that game made some big catches. Malik Rogers, T. Adams, who was recruited as a quarterback, transformed into a wide receiver, made some big catches. Aaron Allen, you can make the case right now as far as quarterback play the last 3 weeks. Aaron Allen's probably one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the Southwestern Athletic Conference right now. Only one interception in
Hmm.
last 3 starts. He's protecting the football. He's managing the football game. So Aaron Allen, Louisiana Tech transfer, quietly is coming of his own. And so we're, just different dynamics. We're pushing the ball down the field, something we didn't think that would be the case because we've been so used to running the football. But I tell you what, it just shows you in this first month of the season just how things have changed, how the script is flipped, and you just don't know what's going to happen. And Southern's going to get a test, and the Alcorn's going to get a test here today.
Breaking news, in my opinion, Allen is the better fit. I know Macon coming from Missouri, great athlete, but overall package, I like Allen. From the outside looking in, but I understand that, a lot of times that dual threat quarterback comes in with super athletic ability, but it's about getting it done. And just from the outside looking in, to me, Allen is the best fit to get things done. But I'm sure I'm in the minority on that one.
And right now, I mean, look, this is about right now. You're a month into the season. You're in a heated division race. It's all about, Kyle Shanahan said this a long time ago. We're going to ride the hot hand. And right now, Aaron
Mhm.
Allen has the hot hand. So if you talk with coaches across college football, whichever quarterback has the hot hand in this moment is the one that's going to be getting the start. So Aaron Allen, for all the talk, he has the hot hand right now, and that's who's going to start. Tyler Macon may see some plays like he did last week. That's a game time decision, according to Fred McNair. I know a lot of people want to see Tyler Macon. A lot of hype, a lot of build up for him. Not exactly 100%. He did see some plays last week, but right now we're riding the back of Aaron Allen, and he is slinging that football. And so if he can continue to do that, Grambling's defense is last in the league. So the numbers and the analytics indicate that the Braves should be able to put some points on the board and get some things done offensively. We'll see. Got to protect the football. Got to call a really good game. But I think we should be able to get some things done against Grambling. And our defense is going to have to show up a little bit and not be worn down, because I think Alabama State did that over 200 yards rushing last week when they only had 14 against FAMU the week before.
Family's really good against the run. Number one in the conference. Once again, I think they're going to have to slow this game down. If it gets into a, a shootout, I think it favors Grambling State. So, Alcorn, you want to slow it down. You want to rely on your defense to get it done. Offensively, you want to be efficient. Don't turn the ball over. And the running game would be very well served to eat up possessions and time on the clock. So, with that being said, let's switch before we get to our first time out and then our next guest. The SWAC basketball predictions are out. Of course, we'll talk with Coach Pettaway about it. But they had SWAC Media Day for basketball, and if you look on social media, you can see in the form of the SWAC magazine some great pictures. And with that being said, uh, on the men's side, Texas Southern University. On the women's side, Jackson State. But it's going to be very, very competitive, Charles. Very competitive.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny to me. I mean, you had the Braves, won their second straight regular season title. And Landon Bussey told me the other day, this is his best team that he's had since he's been here. He told me that the other day. And he looked at me dead serious, said, Charles,
Mhm.
this is the team I've had. I mean, we'll see, of course, once we get in the SWAC play. But, Texas Southern, a team that started 0-5 last year in conference, for them to come out of the Ashes, win the tournament, and then here it is. They're picked to win it. I don't have a problem with it personally. I think, when you look at PJ Henry coming back, and you look at a bunch of other pieces coming back, I think I don't have a problem with it. And in Jackson State, Coach Reed quietly just putting her pieces together. I mean, she's going to be good, but who's going to push her? Is it going to be Bama State? Is it going to be UAPB? Who is it going to be? Grambling's got a new women's coach. Who's going to push Jackson State? I think for them, it's all about the tournament because they did great in the regular season, but couldn't get it done in the tournament. So we'll see. I'm just anxious to see how this non-conference rolls out and see which teams are healthy. But I don't have a problem with the predictions. It's you always talk about it, Carlos. How we start non-conference, is it a template for what's going to happen in conference? Probably not. But it's good fodder and good conversation.
Yeah, good conversation. And I don't want to get my blood pressure going up with
Yeah.
with these non-conference games, because we look at the situation. We had a good discussion about this, a couple of weeks ago, last week, with AD Miller Brown and, what you have to do, the ultimate sacrifice by the basketball teams to go play all these guarantee games. Then when they come for conference play, with poor records, then you expect the fan base to be very enthusiastic. So I'm just not going to go down that again. It is what it is. These predictions, we'll see how they play out at the end of the season. We'll take a timeout, and when we come back, it'll be more of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We shall return.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong.
Go get 'em!
It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Stride K-12 powered schools are ready to put over 20 years of being a leader in online education to work for you. Dive into curriculum designed for the online classroom. Team up with state-certified teachers trained in virtual instruction. Take control of your child's education journey. Discover the power of personalized learning with a leader experienced in preparing kids for a future they can be excited about. Take charge. Stride K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Our first guest, Kelvin Rosier of the ONG Strike Zone. Kelvin, good afternoon to you. I guess you're enjoying the Human Jukebox, I see.
Hey, they my second favorite band outside of the 100, man. Absolutely. They be rocking, man. I got to give them credit. I'm a fan.
No, I understand that clip was actually with the LSU game last year, and so it's kind of making its rounds still on social media. Kelvin, huge game tonight. Southern University and FAMU. I guess if you look at the prognosticators, they have FAMU favorite, albeit Southern's at home. But when you look at this history, it is really of late been in the FAMU's favor. But they've had some great games in the past. But talk about FAMU. Your expectations for this game tonight for the Rattlers.
I'm going into this game a little. I'm very interested to see our reaction. We had a little adversity after last week's game. We're a tested team. I mean, we've played Jackson State, we played USF, we played a West Florida team that's still a top-ranked team, Division II, and we've only had 2 home games. So we're a tested team. This team came back with 40-some seniors on it or grad students. So we're an experienced team. So, of course, naturally, the expectations were pretty high for this team and are high for this team. So, we have a top-ranked defense. The concern has been more on the offensive consistency. We play in spurts. So we're averaging about 27 points a game. The highest I think we've got 31 twice this year, once against West Florida and the other one, I guess, against last week against Valley. And then Jackson State, 28 points. But those 28 points came in the first half, 21 of them in the first quarter. So we play like one quarter of great offensive football, and that's the concern going into a hostile environment with a quality opponent like Southern.
And it's interesting, Kelvin, that Coach Willie Simmons kind of said the same thing, and we're kind of looking at both teams as they are now. One with one loss, FAMU, Southern with two, but some similarities.
Yeah.
Defensively, very strong. It's ironic that you talk about offensively. FAMU has had struggles, so has Southern University. You look at both coaches, we could consider them both offensive gurus, although the Jaguar Nation will say, show me, with Coach Dooley, coming into this ball game. So some very interesting similarities, and then the fan bases are not satisfied from an offensive standpoint.
Agreed. And it was, the noise got so loud last week that Coach Simmons felt the need to actually address the team. And I thought it was interesting that he chose to do so publicly. And then some things he said later on in the week kind of, for me, brought some insight to, probably why that happened. And he mentioned about being on that long bus ride back after the game. He watches the game, after, the tape and so forth. And 8 hours, 10 hours, however long that bus ride is back to Tallahassee, you get back, 8, 9 in the morning. And you've seen, the polls and people in Rattler Nation chirping, you thinking, we won 31-7. So, no matter how we got there, we won convincingly. So I think all of that kind of played into, him deciding to do that publicly, which I have no problem with. I understand he's standing up for his guy and so forth. The only question that I do have is, does that put more pressure for the quarterback and his play caller? Because remember, he's the quarterback coach. Coach Simmons is a quarterback coach as well as the offensive play caller on game day. So does that put more pressure on him and his quarterback this game? And I think so.
Wow. Charles, the similarities are just almost eerie. I'm seeing on social media, FAMU not satisfied, offensively. Same with Southern University, but very similarities with both fan bases and both teams.
Well, you can add a whole court in that too, because our fans aren't satisfied with the offense either. So we're all stirred in the same stew here. But when I look at FAMU and I look at Coach Simmons, of course I know Willie Simmons when he was offensive coordinator here, and he's gonna figure this thing out. But my question is about the quarterback and Coach Simmons coming out. What's been the deal with Musa? I mean, he's not the sexiest quarterback, but he's productive and he's serviceable. If you have a serviceable quarterback, most times you got a productive quarterback. Is he transforming from that serviceable to productive quarterback role? Because obviously Willie Simmons loves him, and there's no indication that anything's going to change.
That's an interesting point. And what Rattler Nation will probably counter to that is that he doesn't do anything elite, right? Because the expectations are high because we brought in a bunch of transfer running backs who are really quality players, and they bring different skill sets. We had 15 returning offensive linemen from last year's teams coming back, and we added 3 transfers who are starters for this team. So, we had all our receivers come back with the exception of course, Xavier Smith, who's in the NFL now. So this expectations are high. Musa is a 6-year guy. Granted, he's only played college football at this level. This is going on his 2nd year. He has the same offensive coordinator. He has familiarity in terms of the O-line coach and the head coach and so forth. So the expectation was that he'll do something elite. I know that Coach Simmons doesn't prefer his quarterbacks right now to be mobile and run a lot. I get that. But at the end of the day, it's about production. Luckily, this is a team sport, and our defense has been lights out. Our running game has been inconsistent, but we haven't really stuck with it enough, to be honest, to really judge it. The first 7-8 plays against Mississippi Valley last week were pass plays, and 3 of them touched Valley defenders' hand. So I think that's what Rattler Nation sees. They see those spurts, and expectations are high, and those expectations ain't going nowhere. So.
Wow. Once again, not to be repetitive, but so much similarities. And when you look at it, and you mentioned about that running game, because I know last year they were kind of in the place where Southern was at, prior to the last 3 weeks, uh, not being effective enough. How important, Kelvin, you think it's going to be for FAMU to try to get to that balance and establish that running game against also very good defensive football team in Southern University?
There's no way to understate that the running game is what makes FAMU offense be championship level or just very good. It's the difference between winning the SWAC East and winning the Celebration Bowl, or just having a good season, another 9-2 season, right? It's amazing that folks could be up in arms given we're 4-1. We played a lot of the better teams on our schedule, and but again, the expectations are so high. But we have running backs who can run for power. We got Yance at 6'2", 245. We got guys who can run for speed in terms of you saw him a little bit last week, and, and I know there's a little backstory. I'm not going to get into it while you haven't seen a little bit more of him. But I would say you'll probably see number 25 a little bit more in open field. He's the closest thing we have to a Bishop Bonnet, that explosive guy, and he really got us started last week against Valley. And so, again, experienced line. We got good size, up and down the line. Now, we have had offensive linemen out. Against Valley last week, we had a starting guard. We had a starting center playing guard. We had one of our starting guards playing tackle. I don't know if our starting all-conference tackle has even played more than a half a game so far. So we've had pieces that we've moved around. They're a little banged up front. But again, the standard is the standard. But it would help Musa if it's not on him to make every play. He has accuracy issues, particularly with deeper throws. Those are the ones that drive us crazy because, the guys be wide open. But he's pretty efficient with the short passing game. So that run game would really help him, I think, and coach's play calling.
Well, I'm looking in the chat room, Kelvin and Charles, and Adrian says he's a game manager. Gotcha. He struggled. He's been we'll say been inconsistent.
Right.
We can look to the other side. The backup quarterback is the most popular guy on the football team. And when you look at him, you can look at Alcorn, you can look at Southern University, you can look throughout the conference. But now, defensively, that's where it stops at. That's the strength for FAMU and Southern University. FAMU defensively, talk about them. Although they come as advertised.
Absolutely. You got to remember, we lost, Isaiah Land. Then we lost Kamari Stevens, to Jacksonville State during the summer, as a matter of fact. So, question number one for folks outside of FAMU was, what the pass rush would look like. Now, we had a little taste of what we were capable of against Bethune last year. So we knew Anthony Dunn was a stud who transferred in from Marshall as a true freshman last year. So we still had General Hunt and Stanley Mentor and some of those guys up front. So we knew our front seven would be stout. We also knew we had pretty much all our linebacker core coming back. And they are a lot more athletic than in the past years. So they can do equally stay on the field and do run and pass. And if you watch our defense, we rotate a lot of players. We changed the whole front four. Within a drive of series, we've not had many teams that have driven the ball down the field like 10-play drives, 12-play drives, etc. Mm-hmm. And they're fast. They get pressure on the quarterback. However, they're not perfect. Our front four has not been as advertised. Our back four has not been as advertised. We had two guys in the secondary who were pre-SWAC selections. And so far, we really haven't had any interceptions. and a bunch of turnovers. We have a lot of tackle for loss and sacks, but that I think Coach Simmons alluded to that, and I think that's the next level for us to create a few more turnovers defensively.
Kind of looking at the stats, and of course, FAMU #1 overall defense, Southern #2. Scoring offensively, FAMU 27 points a game, Southern University 17 points a game. Scoring defense, FAMU #2, giving up 15 points a game. Southern is #1, giving up 12.8 points a game. What scares you, Kelvin? I know I asked you about your concerns earlier. What scares you about Southern? Is it just defense? Is it the atmosphere? Is it just more of FAMU and what they can do?
Southern is a lot like FAMU, tradition. Playing Southern on the road, they're used to big games, so their players are not going to be intimidated. Their players are going to be fired up to play this game, in front of the home crowd. And they have talent every year. So Southern's going to play good defense, and they have the ability to exploit, our weaknesses, right? They have running backs. They have a pretty decent line. They have receivers. It's just, can you get consistent quarterback play? So the fact that Southern is we played so much over the years, there's no intimidation factor, because sometimes that does play an effect when we play certain teams, but this won't be one of them. And then knowing that our margin of error is going to be small, particularly at Southern, given the atmosphere. I have to say, generally speaking, we have felt over the years historically that the officiating has been biased. But I have to admit, the last time we was up there, it was a pretty well officiated game. That did not happen, and that actually surprised me. But I always worry about that when we play in Baton Rouge. We're one bad call away or one bad turnover away from being out, losing that game.
Maybe it's Willie Simmons, Charles. I remember when he was at Prairie View, and it was a controversial call. But I feel totally opposite. I think you can't get a break if you're a home team with Southern University. But you look at the tradition, you look at all of the similarities with this football game, Charles. This might be a good a time as ever for your prediction. We know who it's going to be.
Yep, I am going with FAMU. I just think right now, FAMU at this point is the better team. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to go a little bit off the beaten path. You and I, Carlos, have talked about this when Southern plays at home, whether it's at Mumford, whether it's at the Baby Dome, whether it's at Heinz Field, how there's tension in the air at home. I would like to see Southern University come out against the best team in the league. And FAMU right now, by far, is the best team in the league. Can the Jaguars get it done at home against one of the top-tier teams? The last couple of years has been Jackson State. Okay? Couldn't beat Jackson State at home. Now, if this game were in Tallahassee, I would give Southern a puncher's chance, because for some reason, when Southern's back's against the wall and they go on the road, they show up and show out. Case in point, UAPB. Case in point, a few years ago, they go to Prairie View and blow them out. But at home, it's different. They play with a little bit of tension, or a lot of tension. This is going to be one of those games. You're going to be the best. You got fans who come into your house. You got to let it all go. You can't play uptight. We all know that in any sport, that can't happen and expect to win. So from a SWAC fan's perspective, my Alcorn hat says, yes, go FAMU. But my SWAC fan hat says, let's see if the Jaguars can really win a big game at home. At home. Because Southern has struggled. When Alcorn won their 6 straight division titles, when they came to Baton Rouge, the Braves got it done, whether it was Norris Footman breaking out or Arnold Walker winning in overtime. The Braves were the best team in the league. FAMU's best team in the league. Can the Jaguars show up at home? There's going to be tension. As you said, some fans still aren't happy. There's going to be tension here at Spinks today. Some of our fans still aren't happy, even though we won last week. There's going to be a little bit of tension. It's homecoming, packed house. I'm speaking to Southern. Can Southern get it done at home against the best, right here and right now? As a fan of the SWAC, that's what I would like to see. And that's, I do think FAMU is going to win the game because they're the better team. They're the better team. But I want to see Southern step up. I want to see Southern step it up against the best of the best. We'll see tonight.
Well, you see, Kelvin, I'm clapping. He's challenged Southern University's fan base. But by the way, if I would look overall in the last 10 years, pretty good at home. Yeah, they dropped one to Jackson State. Dropped one to FAMU. FAMU the last time they came there.
Yeah.
Had success against Alcorn the last 2 times at home. So I guess I consider that the 2 biggest home victories in the last few years. But Charles has put the challenge out to Southern University football team. Get it done at home.
Against the best team in the conference.
Against the best team in the conference. By far,
yes.
By far.
Carlos, you said it. I think this could be, even though this is year 2 of Eric Dooley's tenure, this could be a defining moment. Because I do think if Southern wins this game, the confidence will be off the charts. In a few weeks, they're coming here. And I guarantee you, the Southern team that comes here in a few weeks is going to be a lot different than the Southern team that you'll see at 6 o'clock tonight. They're going to be on the road. Nobody's cheering for them here. Southern's going to play lights out here. Can they do that at 6 o'clock tonight against the best team in the league? We'll see.
Yeah, they don't need to be worried about going to the reservation just yet. You got to win the week, and that starts today. Yeah, it could be a statement game. We'll see. But I'm going to say what Coach Dooley says. You just got to win the week. Be successful tonight. Kelvin, if FAMU wins the ball game, it'll be because of what?
I'm going to go with what I know. It'll be because we shut down a run, our defense create turnovers, and we win defense and special teams. Now, if it's a competitive game, then really, like one play game, that's because we turned the ball over offensively, and we were committing a lot of penalties. That's the other Achilles heels of our offense, primarily. So we play a clean game. I think we can get out of there with a solid victory. But I just don't know if we haven't put 4 quarters together all season, so I don't know.
Well, we're saying FAMU the best team by far, but Kelvin, it sounds like you're saying, yeah, but. So
I am.
Yeah, I understand. Because I know I'm kind of looking from the outside looking in with FAMU. But you have to respect the tradition. When I was on the OG Strike Zone this past Wednesday, we talked about that tradition. Oh, man, some of the battles, 50-49, 50-48. So let's reciprocate. For those who didn't see it this past Wednesday, some of your memorable moments with FAMU and Southern University football.
Well, I love going to Baton Rouge, and I'm just sick to death that I didn't make it this time, because up until the last 2 times we played up there, I had went to every Southern game since like the early 90s when we played in Baton Rouge. But my favorite game of all time is I think it was around 1998 or 2000, one of those games. It was one of those 50-48 games. And Southern was driving, and you had a wide receiver from Tallahassee who got hit at like the 2-yard line and fumbled. I think his name was Dale Roberts. if I'm not mistaken, who played at Tallahassee Garvey. And so we pulled that game out. My next favorite game was in Tallahassee. Is of course it's the Internet Peak game where the old me at fans page, we were stirring things up, talking trash, selling wolf tickets. In some kind of way, one of those Jazz gave it to Internet Pete, and he made the statement, somebody's going to get embarrassed.
Oh, yeah.
And they came down, they were undefeated, highly ranked, man. And that's, to this day, probably the most raucous and fired up I've ever seen a FAMU crowd, man. That game was electric, and it was over after the first kickoff. But it was a beatdown.
And I remember that well. And if I'm not mistaken, at that time, the play-by-play guy, I think people will recognize his name, James Verrett. And I was part of the broadcast crew, keeping stats, pregame, a little bit of postgame. And he had a famous saying, Jaguar Nation, rally around your radios. No, it was over. It was over, literally.
Yeah.
7-0. And who are the guys? The Rack Boys, Jacquees Nunley, Kalen Lamb. Oh, my God. I want to say it was Gray, the quarterback. If he wasn't a quarterback, he had a big quarterback, big physical guy.
Yeah, that probably would have been around 99. So Quinn played 2000 and that 99. I mean, he was on the team anyway, but yeah, he was a part-time starter, I believe, that year. So yes.
Yeah, but man, it's 7-0. Looks like it was 3 plays scored. Kickoff to Southern University. Big vicious hit, fumble. FAMU gets it. Goes down and scores quickly. Yeah, I want to say it was 28-0.
After the first quarter.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Enough of going down memory lane on that one. And then we kind of talked about the time that Southern defeated FAMU in Tallahassee and the water sprinkles.
The water sprinkler game, yes.
Oh, yes. My. There's still some Southernites still pissed off about that one, but years ago. So, those are the type of things that make a rivalry good.
Yes.
The interaction with the fans. You go back and forth, you win some, you lose some. But FAMU, as of late, last time they played, they won. Last time at Mumford Stadium, they won. So tonight will be a good time. Will be a good test for both teams. But for Southern University, this could go a long way in proving the prognosticators right.
Correct.
Because Kelvin, they said in the West, it's Southern. In the East, it's FAMU. We shall see. It's still plenty of football left to play. Kelvin, closing comments.
Well, I was going to say to Charles, I backed off. Southern was my favorite preseason, but I backed off and thought, those Braves would have a little bit better quarterback play. I knew they had a strong defense returning. So, I kind of switched out and I picked the Braves first and Southern second. So the Hunters not going to be at this game. So I'm interested to see. I know Rattler Faith will be there, but maybe not as in the numbers they would have been if the Hunter was coming. I don't think that it impact our players and coaches, frankly. We know the environment. We don't play in these games before. It's a rivalry. You're going to get the best FAMU, I think, today. But I do worry about the fragility, how fragile the psyche of our offense is if we don't have early success. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. When you look at the scores, I mean, they dominated Jackson State. They kind of pulled away from Valley. What's going to happen when adversity hits? Yeah. I mean, Southern does come out and play the game that, we'll see. But if they come out, FAMU in the mouth a couple of times and get them staggered, what will FAMU do? Because if you look at what they've done in conference, it's been kind of one-sided. So we'll see if adversity hits in a game like this.
Right.
Yeah. And, guys, you'll always talk about on this show adversity and how you respond to it. Southern in every game They're 2-0 in the conference, 2-2 overall. They've scored first in every game. Every game they've taken the lead. So it'll be interesting to see if FAMU, if that trend follows, how they will respond. But I will say this: they know it's a big game. I think they'll be up to the challenge. They're not in Ida Vina. They're not playing Mississippi Valley State. I think Southern will get FAMU's best shot. Just my opinion. Kelvin, we appreciate the time, and hey, we'll do this again. We'll get you back when it's not Southern and FAMU playing. But we'll check in with you, and you'll give us an update on FAMU the rest of the season.
Anytime, just call on me, man. I appreciate y'all guys for sharing this forum with me today. I enjoyed it, and go Rattlers.
I understand. That was Kelvin Rosier of the OG Strike Zone. We'll take another timeout. Then we'll transition a little bit to hour number 2. Willa Brown. We call him AD Willa Brown. And then also Coach Vann Pettaway will join us. We'll get his opinion on those SWAC preseason polls, both on the women's and the men's side. For Southern University, Coach Johnson, first year, just about where I thought they would be predicted to be at. Southern University women coming off a tournament championship, defeating Jackson State. But it's going to be very competitive. So I don't really have a problem with the preseason polls. It's for the fans to engage and talk about it, agree to disagree. That makes the conversation pretty good. So hour number 2 coming up. You're watching the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong.
Go get 'em.
It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Stride K-12 powered schools are ready to put over 20 years of being a leader in online education to work for you. Dive into curriculum design for the online classroom. Team up with state-certified teachers trained in virtual instruction. Take control of your child's education journey. Discover the power of personalized learning with a leader experienced in preparing kids for a future they can be excited about. Take charge. Stride K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Coles Brown, joined by Willa Brown, Charles Edmond back. Coach Pettaway, I guess we'll try to get him back up and going. I saw him there, at least from the audio perspective. Going to get him up for the video perspective. See, we're trying to get him in right now. Southern and FAMU in the big game tonight, 6 p.m. on ESPNU. Willer, good afternoon. Your loyalty is to the former MEAC school at FAMU?
Not gonna say that, Carlos. Not gonna say that. But I'm gonna call it like I see it, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I got Southern in an upset this evening.
You know, that's
and
strange to hear upset.
I just think that being at home, 2-game winning streak, feeling pretty good about themselves, even though it hasn't been perfect by any means. But I just think they muster up enough in a defensive struggle, I think it's going to be. And I just think Southern pulls it out at home. I think there's some chinks in FAMU's armor that hasn't been realized yet. And, maybe Coach Dooley is the one to kind of get to the bottom of that. And so it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a hard-hitting game. And I'm hoping that the fans of Southern, as Charles was stating earlier, rise to the occasion and really get behind those guys and push them forward to a victory.
Well, sometimes a fan base psyche is fragile, and this will go a long way in putting Southern in a position to still accomplish their goals. You don't like to say one game can determine the season or make the outcome a certain way, but for the way this Southern football team has had to overcome adversity, whether it was from opposing teams, self-inflicted, or a combination of both, or two things can be right at the same time. This will go a long way in determining goals for Southern University. Now, we look at a football team that seems to be trending upward. Last week, and Will, you appreciate this, and you were talking about as a former offensive lineman, Southern got some players back. They kind of put some players, moved them to a different side on the offensive line, and they were able to come up with and they've gotten healthier. They had some injuries in the offensive line as well. They came up with their best performance of the season, over 200 yards rushing. And what that did was it allowed the passing game to be more effective. So with that being said, it came at the right time. Now it's about putting together back-to-back weeks and getting a running game established. Because I think it's going to be crucial tonight for both teams, specifically at Southern University. You run the football, it makes the passing game effective, and overall the offense it gives them a better chance to be successful.
Hmm. I think they'll rise to the occasion. Yeah, I think it's time. I think might have been Charles was talking about the possibility of this being a statement type game. And I think this will truly be a statement type of game for Southern, more so than FAMU. And, because if Southern has any hopes of getting to the Celebration Bowl or getting to the SWAC championship game, that sort of thing, they need to send a message this evening, that, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the SWAC. They need to send a message to the rest of the teams in the SWAC West, that if we haven't arrived, we're close to arriving. We right there at the doorstep or walking up the doorway, that sort of thing. And so this game for Southern carries all kinds of, ramifications and hopes and things of that nature. So, it's not going to make or break the year. I'm not saying that, but it's going to go a long way toward setting the attitude for the rest of the year.
Now we say hello, interesting points to Coach Vann Pettaway.
Hello,
Coach,
guys.
don't tell me you're in Mobile.
Oh yeah, I'm in Mobile. This is the brothers' weekend, so I got my brothers here this weekend with us, and then I got a brother from another mother, Reginald Gibson, who's just like a brother to us, and I'm looking forward to a big game tonight, this afternoon between our Bulldogs and Jackson State. People are coming in. We got in here Thursday, so the football atmosphere is here. I'm looking forward to a great game.
Coach Pettaway, I'll say this. You get in on Thursdays, and when I was making road trips, I get on a Friday. Hopefully I'll be able to do that one day like you. Get in on a Thursday. That must be relaxing. Because for me, it was always a Friday, sometimes a turnaround. Most of the time, leave that Sunday. And, Thursday. What an extra day can do for a person.
But look, as you age, you need that extra time. So
that's the truth.
Yep. But all around the SWAC this week, that Southern FAMU game, that's big. I think it's gonna tell a lot about not only Southern now, it's gonna tell a lot about FAMU. Because if FAM can go on the road and win down there at Southern, I think it's gonna send a clear message to the rest of the SWAC that you got to come through Florida A&M.
Yeah. Well, it is going to be, we can safely say it's the game of the week, but there are also some other important games as well. I want to switch to the basketball side. Now, they had SWAC Media Day both on the women's and men's side. And we'll put up the graphs first for on the women's side. Chivalry is not dead. And
Jackson State, they picked Jackson State to win it on the women's side. I think the coaches, at least they're thinking right, because they've shown their dominance over the last 4 or 5 years, and I think they got it right when they picked Jackson State to win another title. To me, the surprise team in the top 5 was Pine Bluff. A lot of coaches got and Charles, you have to help me with this. I thought they lost a lot. I thought Pine Bluff lost a lot, and I didn't think the coaches would pick them that high. But to pick them third, I think that's a testimony to the hard work they've done out there at Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Pretty cut and dry, Jay.
Charles, I think he was addressing you about with UAPB.
Charles, did you think they picked Pine Bluff too high?
I'm sorry, we had a tough connection. Was that on the women's side?
Yeah, on the women's side.
Don Brown's team, played Jackson State tough in the tournament last year. She got a new contract. I think she really, and one thing I can say about Coach Brown, her team can recruit. She can recruit and get some players in there. I think let's be honest, the voters for the Southwestern Athletic Conference standings and players are the SIDs and the coaches who vote. And so you're looking at the ebbs and flows of that. No media gets a chance to vote for that. And so clearly they see an improvement, and they see that Coach Brown, the recruiting that she's done, almost beat Jackson State in that tournament game last year. Looking at that, and I do think that they probably.
Yeah, now he just went off, but it was interesting to hear them talk about Coach talk about how her ladies have worked over the summer, and she's got the Twin Towers coming back. So I think that with the Twin Towers, that's probably the reason why they voted them so high. And you see where they got 4 first place votes. Now they did play well down the stretch. If you remember the last half of the season, and especially in the SWAC tournament, Arkansas Pine Bluff gave them some fits now. So that might be a good choice. And if things are right, and she's saying that her kids are in better shape now than they've ever been, then on the women's side, it's going to be a dogfight all the way to the end.
Yeah, I mean, Southern, Jackson State, number 1, 11 first place vote. Southern picked number 2, Pine Bluff. We're going to talk a little bit more about Arkansas Pine Bluff. 4th, Alabama A&M. As you can see, 5th, Alabama State. 6th, Prairie View A&M. Bethune-Cookman. 7th, Grambling State. 8. Wow. 9, Alcorn State. 10, FAMU. 11, Texas Southern. 12, Mississippi Valley State. But Southern defeated Jackson State in the tournament championship, but then they had a tough one with Arkansas Pine Bluff. Coach Brown has done a great job of recruiting and putting together the pieces there, and it's going to be very competitive on the women's side. We talk about that each and every year, but you look at that top 4, a very strong 4, and then Alabama State and Prairie View, Coach Pugh at Prairie View A&M. She's trying to get that program to where she needs it to be, or she wants it to be. So that's kind of a look at the women's preseason poll. But Coach Pettaway, I don't think anyone could really argue the point or disagree with the poll on the women's side.
Right. There should not be any argument when it comes to that, because Jackson State has shown their dominance over the last 5 years.
Wheeler.
I agree. I would agree 100%. And I know that this is the final year of Coach Reed's contract, I believe, at Jackson State. And so it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Jackson State kind of steps up to the plate in terms of retaining her. I know she's making a pretty decent salary from what I read somewhere. I don't know if the numbers were correct, like $485,000 or something to that effect. I don't know. The number seemed outstanding to me that women's coach in the SWAC would make almost $500,000 a year. But so I don't know if that number was truly correct or what have you. But she deserves a decent contract, and I was surprised that she wasn't offered an extension maybe last year or the year before. So it's going to be interesting to see how those negotiations play out. Whether or not there's some other suitors for her services, that sort of thing, and so it's just going to be interesting, I think, all the way around. So. The heat is on, naturally being a number 1 team and all that sort of thing. But, contract year for the coach, I think, kind of adds a little bit more sauce to the mix. And so, I'm anxious to see what's going to happen.
Right. And Wheeler, during the media day, a reporter asked her about her contract, and she really didn't like that. And she didn't answer that. She says, we're not going to talk about a contract. So I think there might be something. There might be something out there now that's not going well when it comes to those negotiations.
And
So
I
on the
don't
media day,
blame her.
she
I
shut
don't
them
blame
down.
her
She
for
shut
not
them down
discussing that.
fast.
Yeah.
Right.
That wasn't the time. And
Right.
I'm with you, Coach Pettaway. I think there may be some underlying things there. It may be a thing of, well, y'all should have come to the table last year or the year before last, and offered me an extension. I think anytime a coach goes to the last year of their contract, before anything is being done or said, then that kind of, I don't know, sends an indirect message of some sort, and a coach can take that from a negative point of view. I mean, like I said, Coach Reed, I don't know if she's had opportunities to move on that she really liked. I'm sure there were some offers out there like the last couple of years, but with the salary that she's making at Jackson State, I mean, from what I've seen, tough to pay that kind of money elsewhere. Even though it may
Right.
be a step up somewhere, that sort of thing. But the dollars say what the dollars say. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens from there.
Well, let me put it out there. You're the AD, Coach Pettaway. From a coaching perspective, you've got a good resume. You've done very well at Jackson State. For as negotiating, she is in the strength category, correct? Or am I wrong?
Yes.
Based on what she's done.
Right. Yeah. Right. The cards are heavily in her favor. She's got everything she needs to negotiate a good contract.
So
And
now,
I don't. Go ahead, Carlos. I'm sorry.
so now from an AD perspective, she's done great. Okay, I would say she got a raise when Memphis came for her last year. But you know what? I still think, and from a society we live in, a capitalistic society, she's going to always try to get what's best for her and her family. Now, from a administrative perspective, AD perspective, would this negotiation be easy from the standpoint of both parties getting it done? I'm sure she's had offers from other places, but it just seems to me from the outside looking in, she has a special thing being at Jackson State and being Jackson State at HBCU, because I've seen some of her comments before. It's kind of like, yeah, I could go somewhere else, but I want to do something special at Jackson State. So shouldn't this
she's doing that.
Shouldn't it be easy to get it done if that's what both parties want?
You would think so, Carlos, but as Bumpy Jonas and Shaft in the movie Shaft says, money always matters. And so it's kind of catch-22 there. If I'm the AD at Jackson State, naturally, you got to keep a short list for all your coaches, that sort of thing. If she's making as much money as is reported right now, I don't know that they have reached the ceiling in terms of what they're able to pay, the women's basketball coach. And if not, I mean, I don't know if there's some other creative ways to kind of help supplement that sort of thing. But, I'm thinking that, if it's at 400,000+ that I'm seeing being reported, then, I'm thinking there's a kind of ceiling there, Carlos, in terms of the salary structure. So there's going to have to be some give and take, I think.
If your figures are correct, I guarantee she's making more than every male coach, every men's coach in the SWAC.
Yeah. So like I said, Coach Pettaway, I'm not sure. I've read this somewhere, but then I kind of had a double take with it also. Because I'm like, geez, Jackson State paying that kind of money, for a women's coach, not knocking a women's game or anything like that, just didn't seem ideal. So I think either way it goes, they're going to have to meet somewhere in the middle, and Carlos, they're going to have to sweeten the pot in terms of incentives possibly and things of that nature. They got to do what it takes to keep her if they can, but at the same time, understanding that there's a ceiling there. There's a limit to which they will go, and they need to have the backup plan fully in place. For if and when she decides this is not going to be good enough, and she's going to hit the door, that sort of thing. So it's going to be interesting. It's
Right.
going to be
And
really
really think
interesting.
about this. If that figure is correct, we're in the football coach's money in the swag. Yeah. So see that's what I'm saying. So that could shift the pay structure in our league now, if that were to happen, because you're going to have football coaches say, "Wait a minute now, you got this lady, this women's basketball coach at Jackson at this figure, and I'm the head football coach, and I'm below that." So that it's going to be real interesting how this plays out, because I know for a fact now from the guys that I know in this league, if she's north of 400,000, she's making more than all of the male coaches on the men's side. In basketball now, and she's making more than most of the football coaches.
Yeah.
Well, on her resume, and I understand football is the engine. I understand all that. But what she's done, Coach Reed, is outstanding.
Right.
And her resume
and I'm
speaks
happy
well.
for her now. By the way, I'm happy for her. Yeah, because
and I am too.
As a coach, I can go to the negotiation table. If I'm a basketball coach in the league, I can go to the negotiation table now and say, "Hey, wait a minute now. Let's look at what they're doing at Jackson State on the women's side." So that's good. I'm happy for her. And then this might help all the other coaches in the league when it comes to salaries.
But she needs to be prepared, Carlos. She needs to be prepared to have an exit plan of her own. If things aren't suited the way that she would like for them to be suited. I would think that this is just me talking. I would think that if there have been some fully or really, really attractive opportunities out there for her, that she would have done more than just taking a glance. And, we talk about, what we want to do for HBCUs and, the whole lot with that. At the end of the day, it's about, our families and, taking care of, that business on the business part on that end, so it necessitates that, we have to, be mindful of the opportunities that may be out there. And I think for her, it's really no different. So, hopefully, both parties have a sense of duty in mind, and, they're going to look forward to having some nice, clean discussions, and, let's see what can get done.
Charles, you can weigh in on this. We've gotten others' opinion on there. And I'll just simply say this. Outstanding coach. She's done a great job. And whether she stays or goes, hopefully she'll get it done. But if not, she won't be unemployed at all. Not at all. Go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, I think the word maxed out is kind of my thing. I think Coach Reed has done just about everything that you could possibly do in the SWAC level. She's won regular season titles. She's gone to the NCAA tournament. She had LSU on the ropes. NCAA tournament.
Yeah, Charles is having some Wi-Fi issues. Yeah, and Charles, you're back.
Yeah, I switched connections, so I think this is probably the more stable. But I think Coach Reed has done, short of winning a game in the NCAA tournament, I think she's done all she can do at Jackson State as far as regular season titles, tournament titles, players, all that. I think for most of our schools, unfortunately, there is a feeling And if another school comes calling to offer her $1,000 a year in that regard, I don't know if $400,000 is correct. I know Texas Southern's coaching at the $250,000. That's the top as far as the minutes. I don't know if any other coach is making that. But another mid-tier school comes after Coach Reed with a pretty good package. Trust me, I think Jackson. What else? What else can you other than winning against the NCAA tournament? So I think comes after. I think Ashley Robinson. He just got a new contract. I think with the new president coming, they may push a couple more dollars at her. But if another mid-tier school comes after her with 500, 550, something in a regard with a bigger budget, you can believe she's gone. I would hate that because I like Coach Reed. He's very outspoken, all that. So I think, money talks, as they say, money talks, some other stuff walks. So I think for Coach Reed, I think if another school comes after her with a pretty good package, 5 years, whatever, 5 years, $2.5 million, 5 years with a whole bunch of escalation, bigger budget, she's going to take that.
Well,
yeah.
Once again, I would say I wish her well. She doesn't owe anybody an explanation. She'll do what's best for her. Her record speaks for herself, and she will be successful, whether she continues to stay at Jackson State or the ceiling promotes for her to go to another institution. She'll be successful because she's a dynamite coach. Let's quickly move to the men's side and see our preseason polls. And by the way, we're gonna end the show at about 12:45 Central Standard Time, just 15 minutes early to help out the network with another event that's going on. So hey, I believe in being a team player. So on the men's side, guys, there we go. Texas Southern, Grambling State number 2, Alcorn number 3. Could be some discussions why Alcorn's not number 2. Jackson State 4th, Southern University 5th, Prairie View 6th, Alabama A&M 7th, Alabama State 8, of course 9, Bethune-Cookman 10, Arkansas Pine Bluff, FAMU 11, Valley 12. The discussion. Some could make a case for Alcorn State number 1. Some could make a case for Alcorn State number 2. Grambling State, there you have it. Coach Pettaway, preseason poll. Did the prognosticators get it right?
Well, Carlos, for me, the only thing I would have questioned was Southern at 5th with a new coach. Putting them ahead of Prairie View when you got a veteran coach there. He's got a good nucleus coming back. That would probably be the only thing that I would look at. But I felt like Alcorn and Texas Southern are, to me, on the men's side, they are the teams to beat. But you cannot leave out Grambling now, because not only has he done well there, he just added Jalen Johnson, who's an first-team All-SWAC performer. He's now at Grambling to go with what Coach Jackson already has. So it's going to be interesting for this season to play out. And I think those top 4 teams, I think they'll be there in the end. What say you, Charles?
Charles, you have to turn your mic on.
I can't hear.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Coach Pettaway, the breaking news there. Jalen Johnson coming to Grambling to that roster. I mean, Jalen Johnson was a pretty good player in this conference, and so that adds to it. With Texas Southern, I thought maybe with brought back, maybe the voters don't see the same type of talent this year as years past. And maybe that's why they have them down a little bit. They see Grambling on the upswing. after the 0-5 start last year, they feel like they're on a roll. That's kind of the way I see that as far as what the but having Southern University kind of in the middle of the pack, Carlos, remember now, a top 14 last year, first year coach, and now you kind of slippage there. So that's from the voters. Obviously, they see that a little bit of slippage there. And I can understand that first year coach continuity, trying to get it all together. I get it. But Texas Southern number one, the voters like to go to the season the last year, but obviously they see it play rosters and come over.
Yeah, hey, it's for discussion. Southern University, I probably thought they would be 6th or 7th with a new coach, and we've talked to Coach Johnson, and I think he'll get the program where it needs to be. But the good thing about all of this, you can kind of compare and contrast, and then we can look at these preseason polls at the end of the season, Willer, and see how correct they were, how did it play out, and so it's good for discussion. Hey, but I don't, I'm not gonna argue against the preseason.
It's fodder for the fans, Carlos. It's conversation piece, that sort of thing, and I think I don't know that the coaches pay too much attention to it. Outside of those who may feel disrespected because they were picked in the bottom half or what have you, and they may try to use it for motivation, that sort of thing. But really only going to take you so far, and so I mean, I kind of thought that Alcorn with Coach Buffy, I thought they probably should have been in that number 2 slot as opposed to Grambling, but Coach Pettaway was talking about the new addition that Grambling has. I don't know if that played a part in it or what have you, but like I said, you can't put too much stock in these preseason polls. It's exactly what it is. It's something for us to talk about. It's something to have a discussion about. It's something for fans to feel on cloud 9 or disrespected, depending on where your school is located. And you just look forward to the season and having it all play out, so you can talk junk at the end about how your team was picked to finish 10th and came in 2nd, or things of that nature.
Yeah, well, and you're absolutely right. As we get Coach Pettaway back, and we have to move on to get into the SWAC football. But it's just interesting. Sometimes you have a cause and effect. You get a reaction, and I don't want to open up Pandora's box, but this past week I got a lot of text messages from the Miami Heat Media Day and Jimmy Butler and his he fooled all of y'all. He didn't have me upset. And then if you look at the recent the first day of their camp, he's back to the old Jimmy Butler, the hairstyle and everything. So it upset a lot of people. People made fun, but hey, Jimmy Butler is a dog. And so he fooled all of y'all with that just to get a reaction, a cause and effect.
And he got it.
Yes, sir, he did. I'm glad I didn't panic, didn't come out with a public statement and all of that stuff. Just the ones, and you know who you are. You text me. I said it's going to be all right. Let's concentrate on getting back to the finals. Let's move quickly. SWAC recap last week in football. It was Texas Southern all over Lincoln. It was their homecoming, 52-7. Alabama A&M over Tuskegee in their homecoming, a win, 58-3. It was Alcorn State winning in overtime with the gift of gifts from Alabama State. But as Charles said, you take a win, you take a win. Over Alabama State, 23-20. It was Grambling State, and help me if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but They said Grambling State, Hugh Jackson. I call him Hollywood Hugh. Took it personal. And they defeated Prairie View A&M 35-20. We all got that wrong. I think most of us on the panel said it was going to be Prairie View. And then, of course, FAMU over Valley. Guys, Grambling State makes a statement. I think it's been a while since they defeated Prairie View. Hollywood Hugh and Grambling State. They got it done over Prairie View, and now they've thrown the West into even more chaos.
Yes, sir. That loss by Prairie View opened the door for Grambling, opened the door for Southern, opened the door for Alcorn. We'll take it. We'll maybe Prairie View is maybe not quite what we think they were. Remember, it took a field goal here at the Horn to win here. So, who knows what's going to happen with the Panthers. They start fast, they fizzle in the pass, and that was a hiccup. We'll see. But, Grambling, I wonder why Hugh Jackson, Carlos, I've been saying it all week. Why did Hugh Jackson say it was personal? I wonder what was said or what was done. I don't know.
Somebody help me out on that one.
Yeah, somebody from my buddy Renard Higgins from Grambling, somebody, chime in the chat room. What was said about or to Hugh Jackson pissed off? I don't know. But
yeah, but and they scored late, and a 15-point victory over.
I'm looking forward to seeing that game and seeing if Grambling can build on the momentum over the last couple of weeks against Southern and Prairie.
Well, Willa, all the conversation has been, Crawley's throwing it all over the place. Offensively, they're much better than they were last year. Yeah, that is absolutely correct. But now, like every team in this conference, you got your strengths and your weaknesses, and it's things that you got to work on. Defensively, boy, they got a lot of work, Grambling State. And it appears to me that they've got to outscore everybody, and that's a lot of pressure week in and week out. And then when you come up against a outstanding defense, will you be able to gut it out? If your offense has an off week, will your defense be able to step it up and win the football game for them? I have serious question marks about that right now. As it stands. Hey, they may go in Alcorn and pitch a shutout. Who knows? But
Grambling, I'm not sold on Grambling yet. I don't know, what it is, and I just can't put a hand on it or a finger on it or what have you. I'm just not sold on Grambling yet. Granted, they probably beat a good PV team last week, that sort of thing, but I just don't know. It might be Hugh Jackson. I don't know. I'm just not sold on Grambling yet. So they still got a little ways to go in my book, in terms of really establishing themselves as power players over on that side of the ledger.
Oh, boy, I got a text message. Jimmy Butler looked like the lead singer of the Barcades. Marlon, stop it. Marlon, stop it. Jermaine Stewart, I heard all of the jokes. Stop it. He fooled y'all. My goodness. I wasn't worried. SWAC schedule for today. Prairie View A&M and Mississippi Valley State. Of course, it's Alcorn State and their homecoming hosting Grambling State, 2:30 p.m. ESPN Plus. Alabama State hosting Bethune-Cookman at 2 p.m. That's on HBCU Go TV. Of course, Jackson State and Alabama A&M getting it on in Mobile at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's on ESPN Plus. And, of course, the game of the week, just in my humble opinion, Southern and FAMU, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on ESPNU. We've got about 6 minutes, guys. 6 minutes. Prediction times. Prairie View A&M and Mississippi Valley. Charles?
Prairie View.
Quick and easy. I say Prairie View. They bounce back. Wheeler?
I say Prairie View, keep the buses running, because you're not going to have to cut the buses off. It's going to be in and out, and it's going to be a very, very quick turnaround.
Oh, I understand. Alabama State and Bethune-Cookman. Alabama State is home, boy. I don't know. how their psyche is going to be. Boy, all those turnovers and let one get away. I think they're going to be in a nasty mood. But Bethune-Cookman has been playing tough all season. I like Alabama State in this game being at home. Willer?
I like Alabama State at home also. Uh, you know, not really sold that much on Bethune yet. They're still in the early stages of whatever it is they're trying to put together, that sort of thing. But I like Alabama State at home.
Charles?
I'm going with Bethune-Cookman.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going with Bethune-Cookman because I think Alabama State left a lot out there when they played Southern University. That team hadn't been the same since week 1. Lost to Miles, lost to Alcorn, fumbled that game away. Pressure on homecoming. Bethune-Cookman's got nothing to lose. I got Bethune-Cookman. I think Bama State. I don't say it mailed it in, but I don't see a good enough quarterback play from Alabama State. They can run the football, but I think Bethune-Cookman's going to go in there and get them.
Well, we'll see if they can overcome adversity. We always talk about which teams can do that and bounce back. It's gut check time. JSU and Alabama A&M. I'm going to go with JSU. Coming off, I believe, an open week. Jason Brown. Which Brown will show up? What can Brown do for you? They're the better team. And I like JSU in winning in Mobile. Willer?
While I think JSU is the better team, this could be a statement game for Connell Maynor at A&M. Yeah, this game, I think, is going to determine where his place is in terms of the hierarchy, in terms of the SWAC conference. I think he needs this win very badly, against a good JSU team. He likes to talk a lot of smack and, all that sort of thing. And lately he's had some problems. Yeah. Lately he's had some problems selling those wolf tickets. And but he's gonna have to step up now and at home, against a good JSU team. So I'm leaning towards A&M on this one in a statement game for Connell Maynor.
All right, 3 minutes, Charles. Let's go.
I think it's a toss-up to me. If I had to put some money on it, I'm going to go with Alabama A&M.
Oh, my goodness, Charles. Charles, you like the underdog, huh?
He scored 100 points against Tuskegee on homecoming. What does that mean? Probably nothing, but something tells me that they're going to show up and they're going to put some points on the board and put Jackson State on their heels. I got Alabama A&M in a close one.
Wow. Unbelievable. Southern and FAMU, 6 p.m., ESPNU. Willer?
I'm going with Southern in the upset. I'm going with Southern in the upset. I think it's going to be a strong defensive game. And, I just think, Southern coming off of 2 wins in a row and, feeling a lot better about themselves than they were early on. Being at home, with the home crowd behind you and, all the little nuances that go with that. I'm hoping it's going to make a difference for them. But I'm going with Southern on this one.
All righty. Charles, we got less than a minute.
Hey,
you already gave your prediction, FAMU.
Jaguars, can you show up against the best team in the league at home? Can you get it done?
Well, if you need motivation for that game, that's sad. I just simply say running the football will be key for Southern University. They defensively got to force some turnovers. This will be a physical game. At the end of the day, Southern kicks a field goal to win it late in the ball game. I got Southern winning that game. Quickly, I just want to encourage you, a proud sponsor of the Coles Brown Show, the Blue and Gold Centric Club. Ride with the Blue and Gold Centric Club to Jacksonville, Florida, October 21st. The cost $200, which includes game ticket, refreshments, and a ton of fun. Hotel costs $138. Contact Craig Pierre, 225-324-7234. That's the Blue and Gold Centric Club, proud sponsor of the Coles Brown Show. I want to thank all of the guests, Roy producing, and for you for tuning in. Until next time, peace and God bless. Go!